What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to 49 Faithfully. I'm your host, Mariah Lee, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, my guy, my homie. You guys know him as the guy from the East Coast that keeps it real. Mike, what's up? How you doing? Thank you for joining me.
What's going on, Mariah? How you doing? Shout out to all the faithful out there, ready to have a good show. We're gonna have a lot of fun on today's episode, man. I can't wait to talk some Niners with you.
Finally, we got something to talk about that we're not just, draft and draft and draft. Actually, we got to see our drafts doing something today. So that was actually nice. Got to hear from a couple of the guys today and yesterday. So that was good. We'll get into all of that. Chat, what's up? Happy Friday. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. Don, good to see you. Appreciate you as always. Rob, what's good, Rob? Throwback, always one of the most faithful and loyal out there.
Mm-hmm.
Denise took a long hiatus from 49ers content. She barely is just coming back. So good to see you. Melissa. What's good, Melissa?
There she is. What's going on?
Tanya says she's going to be listening while she's getting her nails did. So, she's taking care of herself out there. Appreciate you coming
so now
through.
we got a challenge. We got to try to make her laugh out loud while she's in the middle of getting her nails done. We got to make her like giggle and shake. Mike, you messed up my nails.
DJ Malone, what's good?
My dog.
I hope everybody out there is doing wonderful. Collie, what's up? What's up? So yeah, we're going to get into some things that some of the rookies talked about. So we got to hear from the DC Nick Sorenson for the first time since that's the first time I ever even seen him. Like I was because the picture, like even the picture that they used on the thumbnail, and then the guy that was at the podium, I'm like, is that even the same person? Like, are you guys using the wrong guy's picture? Because that guy at the podium, like that guy looked like a hippie. Like he just rolled straight from the beach up into the podium, like with his little curly hairs coming out his hat. I'm like, okay. And then the guy in the picture, he's like, oh, it's shortcut. I'm like, I don't know about this, but it was good to actually hear from him. I know a lot of us have been questioning for a while, like, what's Brandon Staley's job title? What is he doing? What's that relationship going to be like? So, we got to hear a little bit about that. So I'm going to get into it. Let's start there with Nick Sorenson. And let's start off at Brandon Staley. They had asked him, pretty much about the, like his staff in general and the guys under him and if, all the hiring's been done and whatnot. And so he went on to talk about the, the guys that have been there and talking about, that he's familiar with all them. They know what we like to do, all that. And then he gets into Brandon Staley. So let me go through a little bit, what I wrote down here that he talked about, and then I'll get your thoughts on it, Mike. He said, adding Brandon Staley has been awesome. He has experience as a DC, as a head coach, so he sees things holistically. He knows how to build plans, and then just getting him in there and spending extra hours and just talking football. He's very bright, a humble guy who's smart and knows football. It's been really awesome and helpful for me. And so then they went on to ask, explain his role and what he'll be doing, this off season and as we get into the season and whatnot. And again, he says, it's more holistic. He's been helping me overall. He's been involved with pretty much everything, more connected with the DBs. He's had success as a DC and been a head coach. And with me being a first-time DC, he's helping me a lot. What do you take from that?
I mean, this guy he's here due to familiarity, right? And he's got a crew here that he obviously trusts. He's been working with these guys for a while. And for whatever the reason, they also decided to bring in Brandon Staley. I don't. I'll be honest with you. Like when he was asked like, how'd you end up getting the job? That was kind of like his like go-to response. Like, I'm familiar with everybody. Like, you got to ask Kyle. It wasn't like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm the man for the job, right? Like there was no like confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like, oh man, we got a good guy here. Like he's got this really like laid back, like Matthew McConaughey on hiatus, like we caught you type of vibe going on, right? But I mean, the good news is that he knows the roster, he knows the staff, and so I think it's going to be. I hope it's going to be a very team friendly defense under him. And he's probably nervous, first time defensive coordinator. Um, I don't know if he ever wanted to be that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and so it's like he's got to go through his lumps and bumps. And just like we're sitting here saying, man, this is our first time seeing or hearing this guy ever. This is his first time at the podium. So I won't hold it too much against him. You know what I'm saying? But he's got some history, and hopefully people start looking into him and seeing, what he did in the NFL and things like that, and we can have some better talks about him. But he's got a weird tan too, right? Like, is that what? Like, what is that? Is that the natural complexion? What
I'm
was that?
telling you,
I
he's been a
probably
beach
shouldn't ask this
bum
kind
for
of
the last
questions.
couple months.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, all right, cool, man. It's like I'll shut up, but it's good to see. Hopefully, like I said, he gets comfortable out there. And I'm not going to say it was nervous energy at the podium, but nothing that says like I got a plan. I can't wait to implement these kind of things. It didn't really feel like that. It's like I know what
Mm-hmm.
these guys like, all these position coaches, and they know me. I know them, and Kyle thinks that we have something good going here. We just want to keep that going.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I felt too. And like I didn't really get like a bad, like I remember, I'll go back to the first press conference when Mike McDaniel got up there. I remember coming away the first time that we ever, like I grew to love him and love listening to him talk football. I even listen to his Dolphins stuff now, but
Mm-hmm.
that first press conference, I remember coming away from there and was like, does this guy really know? Like, either he knows too much, like he's too smart, or he like something's very weird about him, right? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't come away from this guy think like questioning, okay, does this guy know what he's doing? Like, maybe that's because I know Kyle put enough people around him to maybe not let him fail, hopefully. Like, we do have Brandon Staley there, and I think, that's a big reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, I think the more that we hear from him, the better we'll start feeling about it. Another thing that they had asked him was, what do you want offenses to see when they look at your defense? What's your identity? He said, I want them to see we are still the standard of what we have always been, an attacking defense that plays fast, we play violent, we play with speed, and we finish. What do you think about that?
That's kind of what was missing last year. The defensive line had to be the biggest disappointment of all the position groups on the entire team, and that
Yes.
includes the return man and special teams. Right? Like this was. We've invested way too much into that defensive line. They just seemed flat. Wayne said they need to attack more because of what he was saying, and my thought was, how do you attack more? I think we need to see results. I think we need to get home more. Attacking is one thing, but it's not like the defensive linemen were just standing around. They were just ineffective, however you want to phrase it. I think we need to see more of that. Just get home. More of that dominance up in the trenches and less hesitation. He's going to be focusing on stopping the run, and those are the kind of things that will allow the team to get back to pass rushing. If you can stifle the run on first and second downs, you're forcing teams to throw more often. No team wants to be in 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8. Yep. You know what I mean? And so if you can force them into those situations after they run the ball on first down, now the defense can really go out there and say, hey, we're going to miss on the way to the ball. You know what I mean? If it happens to be a draw play or a delayed handoff or something like that, at least we're heading in the right direction, and then hopefully they get back to that swarming defense. That's what I want to see. I want to see them swarming back to the ball. So, yeah.
And
he's right, though.
I think he did touch on that, right? The swarm. I think I saw a clip. When I listened to the press conference, I didn't hear it, but I saw a clip or a quote going around that he did talk about that swarm mentality, and even brought up D'Amico, when talking about that. So, man, if he can be even a half of what D'Amico was, I'm feeling
We'll be in a good
okay.
spot. Yeah. You
Feeling
got an
all right.
offense, right? You got an offense that's going to put your defense in an advantageous position all the time. We're averaging 29.9 points or something like that. Like, we're up there. Like, we can score with the best of them. But that defense has got to, like, we shouldn't be in a lot of close games if everything is clicking and firing the right way. And there's some new faces out there and all, I understand that. But you want to see these guys go out there and get back to Niner football. You didn't see swarming. I feel like, I don't want to, take from one show and bring it to the other. But, when Wayne was asking me the differences in the defenses, it was the ball was thrown to the left side of the field. The people on the right side said, well, that's not my play. And they were kind of taken off. That's not the brand of Niners football defense that we're used to seeing over the last 7 years, right? It was like, hey, if we're all going to hit and miss together, like that ball's going to the left, and you could watch it from the all 22, and you just see the guys just swarm into where the ball was. That was missing this year. That other half of the field was just taking the play off. And so I didn't like what I saw. They got to get back in there. They got to. It's cool to be player friendly and all that stuff, but we got to put our foot in people's behinds this year also.
Yeah, I agree. He talked one thing that, who knows if he's just bullshitting or what. I want to get your feelings on these two players, because two guys that they touched on a little bit were D. Winters and Jalen Graham. And he was asked kind of what he thought about them competing for that spot, opposite Fred, until Dre gets back. And he kind of talked about each one and, seeing their development and that they're looking like they're coming along. Do you feel that was just coach speak? Do you think these guys even stand a chance competing with the guy that we got from Green Bay? What do you feel like's happening with that linebacker spot opposite Fred? Or what would you like to see happen there?
I would like to see some open competition. While Greenlaw's out and injured, I would absolutely love to see some competition going on over there. The 49ers have a guy that they like in DFF, but I don't know if they love him, right? Let's fall in love with another linebacker, right? This is the team that, like, that's kind of our thing. Since Navarro Bowman, hell, Takeo Spikes had a special place in my heart for that season or two that he was here. You know what I'm saying? You go from Patrick Willis to Navarro Bowman, and then we love Reuben Foster for all of 7 games, right? Like, that's what we do. Like, let's fall in love with another linebacker here. We got Fred Warner, we got Dre. Like, let's get somebody else out there that we can say, we got the best out there in the league again. How many people were sad to see Aziz go? And so let's not breed a linebacking room of complacency, right? Let's go out there and say, hey, all of you guys got a shot. Now, go earn it. Go take it. We don't want to give this to anybody. I don't care who's been here longest. I don't care who knows the playbook the most. You got to physically get out there and do it. That's what we want to see. And then play like your hair is on fire. I don't know if it was D'Amico or if it was Robert Saleh. Like, if you're going to miss at 100 miles an hour. It might have been Kyle Shanahan. If you're going to miss and make a mistake, make that mistake at 100 miles an hour. Don't half-ass and make a mistake. Right. So that's what we want to see, especially from that linebacker position. Have confidence in what you're doing and go out there and execute.
When you talk about that missing at 100%, going at 100%, even though it's a different position group, that reminds me right there of a Funga. Sometimes that guy's playing so fast and he'll completely just freaking blow right by the play, but at least he was there. He's always in the area. He's always, so yeah, that's definitely what that reminds me of. And I was happy to see that or hear at least that he wasn't just saying, like, he touched on, the other guy being a vet and that he's been a Pro Bowler, but that, he kept mentioning, it's a competition. We want it to be a competition. Like, I want to see these young guys come in and, like, we're not just going to give it to the guy, because he's a vet, because he's been in the league, like, if these young guys come in and show, like, hey, this is why you drafted me. I belong here. The spot's open. Come in and take it, like. So
meritocracy.
definitely.
That's what you want. You want to see them earn it. We're not handing out positions. We're not handing out, just like the Super Bowl isn't handed out. You got to go out there and earn it. You got to take it. Like, that's how it's got to be for every single position on the field. This team is in win now mode, and we got to take advantage of it.
Yep. They asked him about playing, if he's going to call plays on the field, and he says that he will call plays on the field. He likes being there. That he was a player and it feels good to be on the field. He likes to look guys in their eyes and talk to them. And then he says, I feel like it'll be the right thing to do.
Yeah, and what that was a direct response to how Steve Wilkes was treated last year. And all this guy's on Twitter, by the way. I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if he used that account or not. But there's a couple of Nick Sorenson accounts out there. I don't know if
Mm,
they're real or anything like that. But I promise you, the
interesting.
coaches, the players all heard how the faithful were just ready to kill this guy. You know what I'm saying? They just put a huh? Put on I got a jacket. Oh, I see what he. Oh, I put a jacket on from. Yeah,
We're
I got to show him.
fancy around here,
My best. Yeah, but like people hated it. And I was there's a value in walking to the sideline and or I'm sorry, standing on the sideline and after a series, whether it be good or bad, hearing the reaction to the players. It's
Yeah.
especially good to hear the negative drives and what's going on. You want to hear the fire. You want to hear people saying, you were supposed to do this. You were supposed to do that. You want to hear them holding each other accountable. You don't want to just be upstairs and make a phone call. Hey, what happened? And
Hmm.
you're only talking to one person.
Exactly.
That's not what you want, especially if this is your first time out there. Because football it's people hate to say it, people think it's football, but it is a game of momentum. And that momentum is lost in play calls. You call a bad play or you call a play that the players don't believe in because you're upstairs in a booth on defense, it is going to cause a trickle down effect that may be something that you can't fix later on. And so you want to be down there. I think it's good for him. I think it's going to be even better for the players. And it's not like he's someone who's used to sitting up in a booth, right?
Right.
That's not where he's been. So this is going to be good for him, for the team.
Yeah, I like it. Um, New school versus old school. It's funny you say this, Denise, because this is the next guy we're going to talk about. And, every time I cannot, since the minute that we drafted him, anytime that I say his name in my head, even though his last name is Mustafa, not Mufasa, right? I say and hear it like Lion King, Mufasa, like that.
Ooh, do it again.
Exactly like that.
Yeah. Every when people talk about him, I do the little shimmy. Like I try not to say it because I'm such a big kid. But
Yeah.
when someone says Mustafa, I go like I say, ooh,
Like
do it
he
again.
definitely needs to brand something to do with that, some way around obviously the whole Disney part because you can't use, that likeness, but something with that he needs to do because
They got to do like
it's
the face blend with Mufasa's mane around
mhm,
his face or something like that. You know what I mean? Like him up on
yeah,
the mountain looking down over his kingdom. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. Like he's got to go
exactly.
out there and like embrace that joint.
Yeah, because it's too good to not take advantage of. It's too good. So yeah, let's talk about him. Now, before we went live, I told Mike that I might be a little partial because this is my favorite. Yeah, he is my favorite guy that we drafted in this draft, obviously, so far, right before they can get on the field. Um, so the only one out of all the press conferences that I have clips loaded up to play are his and one little clip from Puny. So whatever, okay. So let's start
I like
there.
it.
I want to play because this is so funny, I thought. And I could have just written it down like I did everybody else's, but I wanted to actually hear him say when he's asked about John Lynch. Um, because it's just so funny. And to know for him to even know what this was. Hold on, let
I
me pull
can't
this
wait.
up here.
Now, while you pull this up, I want to
And then
say that I am
mhm.
very proud of you for being able to admit that you're going to have a bias. Like this is your favorite. I absolutely love it because I die on these hills. Oh, this guy's from Jersey. That's it. He's one of my favorite
Yeah,
players now. I die on these hills. So I love hearing somebody else admit it. For better or worse, I'm going to try to find the positive no matter what they do out there on the field. So I love it.
and probably after him would be Bethune. So I'm really hoping, that he fights his way and finds a spot onto this roster because I like him a lot too. All right. So hopefully, let's see. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Let's see.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to dig deep for that film, but I definitely heard good things about. I'm hip with like the John Lynch, the Ronnie Lots of the world, things like that. So, when I was connecting with him at the combine, it was like something that we hit it off simply because safety to safety, we have that kind of relationship. So definitely gotta maybe pull up some VHS tapes or something or whatever it is, dust that off. But yeah, just awesome to just be a part of an organization, general manager that just has been a part of the game. He actually understands his players, understands the game, and so on that can relate to us.
All right, so before I play the next one, let's just talk about that for a minute. For him to, because I swear, like I don't even know if my daughter, she's 20, right? If we still have some of her VHS, but for her to like go into a conversation and be like, "Oh, I'm going to dust off the VHS," like she don't know about them that well to be talking about it like that. So I thought that was very funny for him to even, date John Lynch back that time. That, like, I'm sure these days you can go to YouTube. I haven't done it, but I'm sure somebody has loaded up some John Lynch highlights onto YouTube by now, that you don't have to be dusting off the VHS. But for him to not even be scared to stand up there and, kind of poke John Lynch as a rookie, I thought that was pretty cool. What did you think about that?
There we go. Sorry, I was putting the wrong button here. No, I absolutely loved it, man. He might have to go get 8mm. Like, I don't even know if it's going to be on VHS. You know what I'm saying? But I absolutely love seeing it. And these are the kind of things that make you really appreciate somebody. I had to, like, after seeing him up there at the podium, I had to go back and check his height and his measurements, because, like, he looks like a linebacker. He looks like he's a big, stout guy. You know what I'm saying? And but to go out there and say, like you said, like that fearlessness to even play with John like that. You know what I mean? I absolutely loved it, and I'm sure John got a little chuckle out of it. He seems to have a great sense of humor. So I think that that's good. It shows the comfort in the locker room already. It shows that the nervousness, yes, but also, like, you can't hide personality but for so long. And so when you're up there and you're answering questions, like, he's well aware of how old John Lynch is, how long ago it was, and everything. So it was really, really good to see. You can't hate on something like that. You gotta love something like that.
Yeah, and I loved how he started it out with, "I'm hip to the Ronnie Lotts and the John Lynches of the world." Like, he already knows exactly what to say to, like, "I'm going to get up there, I'm going to kill this press conference. Like, I'm going to win the faithful over. I know to throw Ronnie Lott's name out there, and it also seems like he already has that little kind of a relationship building with John Lynch, like in his other press conference, like he talked about how, like his meeting with them, and how, John Lynch has talked about him in his press conference as well. So it seems like they have that little relationship building. You talk about his size, and that's the next clip I'm going to play. And like you said, I would never, from looking at him up there, he is like, he got a man body. Like we talked about the 49ers drafting these guys that have been in college 5 years, stayed all their years at college. Like, this is one of the reasons right here. Like, we're not getting these little skinny guys with chicken legs coming in. Like, this guy is like up there, like holy shit. Like, I've watched his tape and watched his other press conference and whatnot, but when I saw him at this, I was like a little taken back by actually how big he is, and one of the knocks on him is his size, and obviously because of his height and whatnot, but for, like, he talks about, he had to learn how to, like, he had to learn his body, right, and how to get his size to work for the game that he plays. So let me go ahead and play that.
Yeah, see that Segway King over here, y'all. Y'all see that? Y'all know what it is.
Tell us a little bit more about that meeting with John Lynch.
Yeah, so we just getting to know each other, getting able to talk ball.
Oh, this
But it
is
was
not
just
John Lynch still.
he was kind of lighting up when I was just breaking down the Wake Forest play calls that they had pulled up, play by play, things like that. So as a safety, you kind of be able to have to know moving pieces, who's doing what in the defense. And he was just something that he saw that I know what I'm talking about. So it was just awesome to not just be able to play football at a high level, but understand the game as well.
Can you remind me the name of the role at Wake Forest on the third downs, that kind of rover role that you played?
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it was called.
so my bad. I forgot that he talks about the Panther role first, and that is something I did want to talk about. So he talked about his Panther role. I'll stop and talk to you a little bit about that, and then it's 2 different clips about his size. So let's hear about this Panther role they made for him in college.
The Panther.
The Panther.
Yeah.
How many different responsibilities do you think that entailed, and how many years or how long did it take to learn all the different kind of positions to with the playbook to be able to play them effectively?
Yeah, so the new defensive staff at Wake Forest came that 2022 season, and I had my ACL surgery January 2022. So that Panther package really didn't get installed until I came back for fall camp, like in August around that time, and that's when they started installing different stuff for that. So because I was came back ready to go for camp, and that's when coaches like started comfortable developing new packages for me. And with that Panther package, there was a lot of hats that I had to wear. In the beginning, it was more so like maybe some fire zone calls we can get, like me able to pressure the quarterback and being able to use my athleticism to kind of disrupt them. We saw me spying the quarterback as well, but there was times where you saw me that I'm in the defensive line front, or I'm in the line with the linebackers, or people were so worried about me close to the line of scrimmage where there were some games where I just dropped deep and played the middle third player. So just coach being able to trust in me, being able to pick that up, and being able to cook up different, techniques and defensive week by week based off the teams was something that he trusted me with, and it was just something that it was just a tell of what we're feeling that week. So definitely a lot of versatility within that package.
So he started off right before the Panther package talking about, that John Lynch, something he talked to him about was, that he liked that he's been able to talk ball. And as you can see, he goes in and talks about, the defensive coordinator was new to that school, puts in a package specifically for him to play, and he has to play all these different roles. And like listening to him talk about that, like it's so easy to see why John Lynch was like, yeah, I like this kid, what do you think about him talking about that? And could you see him playing a similar role in this defense? Because when we drafted him, that was immediately my first thought was, this is a Brandon Staley type of guy, because Brandon Staley likes to have that guy in his defense in the middle, like a little rover position that can do a variety of different things that you never know where they're going to be at. And this seems exactly what Malik would thrive for. So what do you see, him doing with us?
Yeah, and the Niners pride themselves on versatility, almost like positionless football. They want as much of that as possible on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. You know what I'm saying? And so you get this guy out here who can drop back in coverage if he needs to, come in and blitz if he needs to, or just play the linebacker role like how he needs to. That is going to be a phenomenal ace that the 49ers are looking for on that defense. They're going to try to diversify, so to speak, the positions. And I like that. I don't want to, make it sound like a comparison or anything like that. But, there's certain guys that have made a name like that early in their careers, like Jamal Adams, right? Like everyone was so high on him because of his position versatility and different things that he could do in the defense. And so, it'll be great for the Niners to come out and get a guy like that here. And that the team is going to fall in love with it. If he can do it all at a high level or even at a good level, if you can do everything well. You don't have to be great at everything, but if you can do everything well, there's going to be a spot for you here on this team.
Yeah. Melissa says,
sorry, Melissa
this
throwing shots at my guys.
Buckeyes fan, Mike, but size, looks, and all didn't make Chase Young work here or make him play with fire or grit.
Hate. No, I'm kidding. No, listen, man. As much as I wanted to work out with Chase Young, no one was happier about that acquisition than I was. But hey, it didn't work out. It turns out, though, Melissa, he needed surgery. So there's a couple of guys that we had here that we were hoping some things happen for on the edge. Drake Jackson, as well as Chase Young, they needed some corrective surgery. Hell, even Javon Hargrave had some injury issues going on during the season that these guys tried to play through and all, and it just doesn't they can't give their all because their bodies won't allow them to. So but as long as they go out there and earn it, size be damned, like that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
We want to see you out there laying it all on the line for the team and for your brothers in arms out there.
Yep. Let's hear about the size now. I promise, guys, it should be here this time.
A couple more.
You're not obviously the biggest.
He's like a little bowling ball.
You know, your progression and flying around and going downhill. And does that
2024. Still can't hear the questions.
obviously does. Tell me about what kind of courage that requires, and did you have that from an early age?
I mean, yeah, like earlier, me being a 0-star recruit, a lot of that is just adding to the chips on my shoulder, things like that, being undersized, being overlooked, things like that. And me developing that just, kind of just formed a mentality within myself, you know, not worrying about how big I am. We all got pads on, we all got helmets on, and I'm just worried about bringing the ball carrier down and getting away takeaways. So it was just a matter of me just being able to, when I see the ball, I'm just going to go attack it and disrupt it any way I can. So it's not about, how tall I am, how big I am, but me just, having the heart to and the desire. And I think the fuel that I have for this game and the love I have for it is what drives me to be that way.
Despite
One more
you
question.
have that aggression and not being out of control or attack or being very solid. Is there a particular coach that you, I guess, credit some of that for?
Yeah, definitely. My coaches at Wake, the new staff that came in 2022, James Adams, my safety coach, and the defensive coordinator, Brad Lambert, they just honed in on the details. I think that was the main thing. Everybody's athletic at the next level. Everybody's, talented, but it's all about, how different are you from the next person in terms of your craft, your work ethic, your technique, and being a technician. And that's what helped me get to the NFL and be able to, hopefully perform at a high level. So it's just all about honing on the details, the drills that we did, the repetition, even the way we went about walkthrough. It was, same thing, repetition over and over again until it was a part of our nature, our culture, and our defense. So it's something that definitely just elevate me as a player.
I don't think
All right. I love what he said there when he says, we all got pads on, we all got helmets on. And then he goes on to say, that he has the heart and he has the desire and he has the love for the game. And that's what makes him be able to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
regardless
making
of
tackles.
his size
Yeah.
or the knack lock, the knack, what is it? The knock on his size, so yeah, what did you think?
No, that's the exact type of answer that you want to hear. Like, I play big, I play fast, I play strong, I run through people. Like listen, when they start coming out with ankle measurements in the NFL, then we have to worry because that's how you're going to get all the tackles, right? If you can't get them up top, you got to wrap up the legs and get down, right? You know why they don't measure ankles? Because they're all very similar in size. Nobody cares about that. You know what I'm saying? We've heard people talk about, oh my God, look at the quads on this guy and look at the biceps on this guy and all that stuff. That's cool and all, but you could tackle anybody if you can get them around the legs, right? So those are the things that you have to keep in mind. I like what you said, undersized and overlooked, right? Like that's kind of a thing that's happening right now. Kendrick Lamar, right? But it doesn't mean anything. The smaller guy can definitely win in a one-on-one, and Malik is going to be that guy on the field. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so excited for, because he had talked about, Huff reaching out and that he, modeled part of his game after watching Huff to be, like that eraser role and whatnot. And like if Huff, hopefully he comes back, right, to be the player that he was prior to injury. And if so, like I said the other day, I can't remember the last time that I have been this excited about the safety room on this team. Like for so long, I know, it was a lot of people's favorite players with Ward and Tart and whatnot, but I couldn't stand the safety room. Like we could not get a freaking turnover to save our life. Like it was just, oh my, I hated the style of play that we played when they were our guys back there. And now for it like night and day switch in the type of guys that they went after to replace them with.
Yeah. And
so I'm so excited.
Yeah, and you should be, right? It makes so much sense. We invest heavily in the defensive line, so that way it's going to keep a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. So now we need playmakers, right? If the defensive line comes through the way that they're supposed to, it should create a lot of opportunities for people in the secondary. And it was happening before, but the people in the secondary were more about coverage and not about turnovers. They weren't necessarily the ball hawks. And John Lynch put an emphasis on that these last 3 drafts. That has been something that he has focused on heavily. Like, this guy might not be the biggest and the strongest or the fastest, but these guys are ball hawks. And that's what we need. We need some turnovers. We need extra opportunities for the offense, And that's if that becomes the focus, eventually it's going to pay dividends, and that's what we're heading towards right now. We can see it happening. We saw it with Huff. We see it with Jair Brown, right? Like, look at these guys. Like, look at what they have on their resume. I picked off Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, right? Like, that's what these guys have to. I picked off Tom Brady when we played against them. Like, Dre Greenlaw. I know it wasn't, one of the safeties, but still, it's like that's what these guys can hang their hats on, and that's great for these young, talented players. It's going to instill so much confidence in them. Like, if I can pick off Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady and these other greats, like, why should I be afraid of anybody that we're going up against, right? That creates a monster in the head. And once you get that confidence upstairs and you know what you're doing while you're out there, unstoppable. That's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, I agree. Melissa. It's okay. I too, like, I didn't, obviously I'm glad that he was replaced with somebody that can get more turnovers, but it was sad to see him go finish his career just after spending so many years here. Like, that's the only reason I cared to see him. Like, I would have rather him just retired. I didn't want him to keep playing here. But, it's like one of those relationships where, like, I don't want to be with you, but I don't want you to see you with anybody else. Like, that type of thing. Like, you could have just retired. You didn't have to go play somewhere else. But I didn't want you playing here either.
and I don't think it's a coincidence that he followed his defensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? So he went out there to instill the system and all that. And we saw Kyle do that and John Lynch come in here, and that's what they did, right? You're going to go out there and get people who are familiar with the system. And then it's like, all right, teach the other guys in the room. So that way, when you're ready to hang them up, we've got somebody who knows what we need them to know in here. And so I feel the same way about Jimmy Ward. You see 9, 10, 11 years with one team. It's like, come on, like, finish it up here.
Yeah.
Like, come on, retire a Niner. You know what I mean? And who knows, maybe one day when Jimmy Ward is officially ready to hang him up, I don't know if I don't think he's officially retired yet. But when he's ready to hang him up, get that 1 day deal and retire a
I
Niner,
think he
man.
does.
I would like to see that for. I don't think it's going to happen with Buckner, but maybe Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward, these guys who have devoted a lot of time, and the injuries we've suffered through it with them. You know what I mean? And so let's wrap it up the right way. I like that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening with Buckner either, because he's already went on now to have so many, good years too over there with the Colts. So it's like, why would you come back and retire at the place that traded you away? But like you said, the Armstead and Jimmy Ward, like, now that Armstead's had time to get over it, like, he even talked about, like, he has no hard feelings, like, he still has love for everybody here, and Jimmy Ward, I feel like is that same way. I don't feel like, even though him and Kyle kind of left on a rocky situation, I don't think that affects, like, the way he looks at the whole entire organization, and what they have done for him in his career. So I could definitely see those two guys ending up here. Retiring here. Let's go on to Puny, since I do have a clip to play for him. But before I do that, a couple of things prior to that he talked about. He had talked about that Feliciano was there, talking, to the O-line. He like said, like, he's talking to them about what to expect, in the NFL, things to do, what not to do. And I thought I wasn't expecting, if there were to be anybody there to talk to the players, that it would be Feliciano. Now, I don't know if it's just because the way things ended, he was kind of in a little hot water with everybody. Maybe that's his way of getting back on good things. Like, I'll be back here. Look, I'm a nice teammate. What do you, there's no problems here. Or what? But I thought that was actually pretty cool, because, like, this is rookie minicamp, and, like, Fred Warner, for example, is always in the area, right? Like, he's always doing shit around there at the facility, but they asked the players and none of them have met Fred yet. So he's obviously not there talking to the rookies yet, right? Or at all. So I thought it was actually pretty cool to have a vet in there, during this, because this is the first time that these guys have done anything at an NFL field, at an NFL facility, and it's kind of like a little reassurance to have a vet in there, like, okay, this is what you guys need to watch out for. This is what you guys should be doing. This, like showing them the ropes, on their first couple days. Like, it's like us when you're new to a job, like they don't just throw you to the wolves, or they shouldn't, right? Like, you have somebody shadowing you, you have, like all this different training. And it was nice to hear that, as odd as it was that it was Feliciano, it was nice to hear that he was there, sharing his knowledge with these youngsters.
And he's a traveled vet, right? Like,
Yep.
you can hate him or love him because he started with the Raiders and everything, but this is his 10th season in the NFL. And so those are the guys that you want to lean on, especially for a young rookie, right? Like, how do you get a 10-year career in the league at a position that isn't highly valued in the NFL?
Yep.
And so you want to talk to guys like Trent, but obviously Trent's not going to be there right now.
Right.
And like you said, it's kind of surprising to even hear that Feliciano was there, and so this is something that, it's going to bode well. It speaks to the locker room, that I think it's like the third time we've referenced this, right? It speaks to the locker room. It speaks to the front office and all that, right? Making those players available. Not that they said, hey, we need you to come in here and talk to them, but hey,
Right.
if you want to come in and work out while the rookies are here, feel free to do so. And then the rookies are inquisitive enough to even pick their minds. Like, they're not just like, oh, I'm sitting over here with the other rookies and we're going to focus on this. Like, hey, let me go rap with this guy really quick. We're in the same room. Let's introduce ourselves. Let me pick your brain if you don't mind. And the fact they're willing to give that information, right? Who wants to, hey, we're going to hire you so you can eventually replace this guy. Right. So now it's like, oh, you want me to train my replacement? Get the hell out of here. Hey, what do you want? What should I do when they snap the ball? Fall down. Just fall down. That's what I want you to do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, they're giving them the real knowledge. They're breaking it down for them the right way. And I mean, come on, man, the camaraderie is already getting started, and that's a beautiful thing to see and hear about.
Yeah, and that's why it is so weird in the NFL, because you're right. Like, you're training the guy to take your job, and it's like, and the vets know this, like they already know it's coming. Like, you hear them say so many times, it's a business, but we've heard other vets, even quarterbacks a lot, where they're like, I'm not teaching him what to do. Like, that's not my job to train the rookie, that's going to take my job. And you don't see that with the 49ers, like, even when it was Jimmy and Trey Lance, like, you knew Trey Lance was coming to take your job. They just drafted him in the first round, right? Like, and then sooner or later, they drafted another guy that ended up taking your job. But it's like, Jimmy didn't come up to the podium and like, oh, I ain't helping him. I ain't showing him shit. Like, that ain't my job to teach him, like, and that shows you and shows so much of what Kyle and John have built here with the 49ers, because these guys aren't like that at all, and especially like you said, Feliciano been everywhere. So, the 49ers just drafted 2 guys in the O-line. There's like 6 undrafted free agents that are here, working out. Like, so many guys that could be taking his job right now, and there he is showing up to help them. Like, you yeah, that's culture. That's exactly why the 49ers, even though we need them to win the Super Bowl, yes, we know, but that's why they continue to be successful season after season after season, unless obviously injuries, but is because the type of team that the 49ers have built. And we talked about this the whole draft show. Every time that they would draft somebody, and we would, the next day on the draft show is be like, yeah, we listened to their presser and we could totally see those are 49ers guys. The 49ers drafted 49ers guys. And this is an example of what that is.
Trying to figure out who those golden helmet guys are and things like that. You know what I mean? And I'm glad you said something there. I know you're about to pull the clip up. You said, we're successful season after season. And while we haven't won a Super Bowl, I love that you said that. And it's echoing the sentiments of what Jed York said. Jed York, they asked him, oh, well, what happened to your whole, we don't hang NFC championship banners here, right? Like now all of a sudden this standard is good enough for you. And he was like, well, yeah, that was part of the maturation process. While I would love to win the Super Bowl every single year, that doesn't mean that the season wasn't a successful season. It just means that we didn't get the goal that we set out for. But you can still be successful in a failure. And so that's something that we as fans also have to sit back and appreciate. Like, we're in the dance every year. You know what I mean? We're out here and we're working hard, and we're going to keep that up. So I absolutely love seeing it.
What's up, Steph? Collie, shut up before you get smacked. Like, don't even start. I'm gonna block your ass right now.
Oh man, that is great. I love seeing it.
So they have asked Puny what position did he want to play. Puny says, it's the NFL. It doesn't matter where I want to play. They will see where they like me best, and I'll play there.
How can you not like that? You put that pride to the side and you get in literally where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? So you guys want to try me at tackle? Hey, let's go. You want me at guard? I'll give it a shot. You want me to play center? Okay. Like, but that's the attitude and mindset that you have to have in here, you know? And I hope people aren't too hard on him. You know, they did the same thing with, in my opinion, they were too hard on Aaron Banks his rookie season, right? Like, oh my God, this guy was a second round pick and he didn't even get any play. Like, blah, blah, blah. He's a failure. He's a bust already. And it was like, well, he was brought here to be Tomlinson's replacement for next season. But they said, hey, let's see what you can do at the right guard position. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But in the meantime, we want you to learn X, Y, and Z. And so as long as Puny has that mindset, as long as if that's the way he's thinking, hey, they want me to try something, I'm going to try it too. You don't get to come in as a rookie and say, hey, this is my spot. It doesn't work like that. We talked about at the top of the show, meritocracy, right? Like, you got to go out there and earn it. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. And you love hearing the guys speak that way.
Yep. Even some recently, that doesn't happen around the 49ers. You know, Willie Snead, Ray. Shout out to them.
Y'all lucky.
All right.
Y'all lucky I don't have my soundboard, but bang, bang, shots fired. Let's go. Talk your shit, Mariah. Let's go.
Let me play this Puny. Where are we? Clip right here. Shout out to Sterling Bennett at 49ers Access for posting this. So they asked Dominic Puny on about having a finisher's mentality. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, in the O-line, it's like, I think the game is one up front. So, I mean, if the O-line is don't want to be, if you want to go in with a tough mindset, you got to get the job done. You got to be up front. You got to be physical. If the receivers and the tight ends see you playing soft, it kind of affects them too. So, I feel like we set the tone. If we're just bullying everybody up front, it gets everybody else like this. So that physicality, hard-nosed football, run the ball, that's what I like to do. Yeah.
Now, is that not what you want to hear from your O-lineman right there? Like, I don't remember ever hearing, now I might be wrong and I might have just not heard it. I don't ever remember hearing Mike McGlinchey talk like that.
You throwing shots at my guy, Mike. I like it, though. I like it. I'm here for it. And, you know, Mike was all about the X's and O's and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. This guy is like, no, this is where it starts. You know, there was a clip
on his ass all the time.
Yeah. There was a clip going around about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. It was a former head coach of the 49ers and Jim Harbaugh saying that people overlook the offensive lineman. You know, he was like, that was the one position that everybody on the entire team depends on to be successful. If the O-line fails, so does the run game and so does the pass game. So you need those guys to set the tone up front. And then you have Puny echoing that same exact sentiment, right? This clip should be going around just as much as that Jim Harbaugh clip was going around 49ers Twitter, 49ers social media. Everyone was praising and they had Harbaugh, heralding this guy for the comment, and this clip barely gets any burn. This should be circling the 49ers socials just like that Harbaugh clip was. That's what you want to hear. You gotta love it. Oh God, Poonie Tang.
Is that his nickname gonna be? Poonie Tang?
I like that, Kenny. I like that.
Yes, Puny fits that, exactly what he said, that hard nose, grit, you know, football down and dirty. Football's won in the freaking trenches. Like, I'm tired of having soft ass dudes playing in the position where you're supposed to be the nastiest on the field. You know, like I forget, we talked about on a recent show about, and I forget who it was talking about it, but they were talking about how most teams, you know, that dirty, that toughness, that all that grit, it comes from the trenches. On our team, it comes from the wide receivers. And they were saying that the wide receivers, you know, they play with that grit, that toughness, they block, they get dirty, you know, and they're saying because if your wide receivers are doing it, the position where you're supposed to be the divas of the team, how could everybody else not fall in line and do it? But at the same time, yeah, I love that, right? But at the same time, it's like you don't want now these soft ass boys playing O-line and constantly getting thrown on their freaking asses, tossed across the fucking field, and our quarterbacks constantly getting sacked. You know, like we need these guys that are down, getting down, dirty. Like they asked Puny about, like, he said he went into last season with a goal that he didn't want to give up a sack. He said, it's my job to make sure the quarterback doesn't get hit, and I'm going to make sure the quarterback doesn't get hit. And what he didn't give up a freaking sack the entire season. Like, that's what we need on the O-line.
Yeah. And not only do you want to protect, right? Anybody can protect and still be soft. We want you to be aggressive, right? I talk all the time about one of my favorite offensive linemen being Alex Boone, right? I love the Alex Boone and the Anthony Davis when he was, you know, actually playing, right? Mm-hmm. Like that was the kind of physicality and nastiness that I wanted to see from the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. And so if Dominic is going to come in here and do that same exact thing, sign me up. Sign me up. I'll be the biggest supporter out here. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear from these guys early and often. Like you come in here and set the tone. And I'm not going to be scared to say I'm going to be physical. Put a target on your back. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you got to back it up. They're going to come at you as hard as they can, whether you say it or think it or not. You know what I mean? So, hey, let them know. Put the league on notice, not the other way around. You know what I mean? Don't come in here and act like you're lunch meat. We're not serving up food here. We're going to do the dishing out here. You're going to get what we feed you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see. I want to hear that kind of mentality, man. I hope that permeates through the entire offensive line room, because I'll tell you, some of these guys ain't it. Still some of the guys that are here, like it's I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to throw any shots or anything like that. But some of you guys got to wake the fuck up out there in the trenches. And it's going to start with the rookies pushing these guys. You know, you don't want to lose that job. You better step the fuck up, because someone's on your heels and they want it more than you do.
Yep, I completely agree. I like this name too. I've seen him say that as well. Puny for Punisher, like, you know, but with Puny, I like that a lot. Puny got to go out there and earn these nicknames we're giving him, though. He can talk a good talk. Now get out there and freaking do it. All right, let's go on to Renardo Green. I don't have too much to really talk about him. From his press conference was very short, the shortest one. What I did like, let me pull up this picture though, because I saved it here. They asked him about him being like, he's our only guy that we drafted that stayed at one college his entire career and didn't hit the transfer portal. And, you know, like once that transfer portal opens every season now, there's so many players going into the transfer portal in football, in basketball. Like, it's crazy how much, you know, like now, like it's so rare to even hear a kid talking about staying at a school the entire time. So I really liked that they asked him about that and what he said about it. So he says, they asked him, you know, like obviously like that in today's age, like that's very rare. Like, were you tempted, you know, to transfer to another school? And he said he was definitely tempted, but his dream was to go to Florida State, and that he believed in staying loyal to what he committed to. He said that when things got hard, he didn't want to just, you know, that doesn't mean just up and leave, you know, like if things are easy, things are hard. He believed in staying there either way and finishing out, you know, what he set forth to do. He, you know, he said that he likes the challenge of that. And so that's why he stayed. He bet on himself. He said that he knew the coaches there were standing behind him and that they were all working towards a common goal. And so, you know, like he didn't want to just turn his back on the guys that he's going to battle with every day. And, you know, like I really liked, you know, hearing that, because like, even though like I saw that on paper, you know, that he stayed, you know, at that school the whole time, like I really didn't think about it until, you know, like I actually heard him like ask and answer that question. And I'm like, you know, like that is so rare these days. And, you know, like that says so much about the guy that, you know, even though you're having a losing season, or like, you know, like he's seeing, you know, like his plays going up, and he knows that like if he transfers to, you know, Michigan or Ohio, or, you know, like one of these big name schools, you're going to go there and you're going to shine, and you're going to get drafted higher and all this stuff that could benefit you. Right. But he's like, no, like this was my dream to go to this school. I got here, and whether this is hard, this is easy, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to work, you know? And like, I love what that just says about not even him as a player, but what that says about him as a man.
It's all about the mentality, right? Like, you didn't believe me. You didn't believe me. You didn't believe me. Watch this. Oh, now you guys see me doing something. You want me to hit that transfer portal? Nah, I'm going to stick with the people that were fucking with me from the beginning. I'm gonna stay loyal to the soil, you know, and that's what you want to see. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the guys that are gonna make it all worth it in the long run, you know. And again, we talked about the type of players that the 49ers were going after, right? And I like you said, one of the only guys that we drafted that stayed at one school, but he had a really, really good reason for it. How do you not like something like that? How are you against hearing someone speak about that loyalty and that devotion to a program, you know? And we might not be winning. We might not be getting the prime time games and things like that, but I'm going to work with these guys. You know, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to show the coaches why they believed in me in the first place. And I'm going to stand behind you guys. I'm not going to be one of these guys that I got a little bit of success. Let me get out of here and go somewhere else where I can make a bigger name and get a couple more eyes on me. No, let the play speak for itself, and then trust the process. And you're going to get noticed. That's why you end up getting drafted in the fourth round. Or I'm sorry, what round was it we drafted him in? Round 2. I'm sorry, fourth round.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's why you end up going there. That's what it's supposed to be. And so I absolutely love what he was saying there. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
A little bit on him. Per Nick Sorenson, he said that Renardo Green will start playing in the nickel. Do you like him there? That means Diamador Lenore, we get him back on the outside. Would you rather see Demo in the nickel? How do you feel about that?
This to me was a positive comment. You can't lose either way. You got Diamador Lenore, who could be going through some of that Jimmy Ward type stuff, right? Like, think about this contract year. I want to play outside. Don't put me in the nickel anymore. I want to play outside, right? This was what was happening with Jimmy Ward when they were asking him to move all over that secondary. And that was the beef between him and Kyle. You know, hey, I want to play here. Oh, so you want to be a backup? Right? He didn't like that Kyle said that shit to him, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't want Diamador Lenore going into his contract year with that hanging over his head and that fresh reminder of what just happened to Jimmy Ward. So it's like, hey, let's go to the podium immediately and say that we're going to start Green at the nickel. Well, that tells Lenore, that means I'm going back outside. He's now it's like, oh yeah. Now he starts doing the Birdman hand rub thing, like, oh, I can get busy this year. You know what I mean? I can show the league what I can really do. And that it's going to have such a huge trickle-down effect on the rest of the players, the rest of the team. You hear these guys saying, this is where I want to be, but if you want me there, I'll go there, right? Same thing that Puny said, right? You want me there, I'll go there. I don't get to pick. But if you can instill a little bit of confidence in these guys, it's going to go a long way. And so I loved hearing that Sorenson say, we're going to start him out there at nickel, see what he's got in there. Absolutely. And if it doesn't work out, you got another versatile piece, and you know what you still have in Lenore. Lenore should be the worst case scenario at nickel. That's what he should be. You want to have guys that have that versatility. But if we don't have to stuff you in there, Pauls, then it's fine. You know, you can go out there and play outside like where you want to be. That now you're happy, we're happy because we have somebody else that can go in there and take that role. No more Isaiah Olivers.
Thank goodness. Holy
I threw a shot. I threw a shot. Bang.
Melissa, he's not saying that Diamador Lenore is Ward. He's just talking about with this position switching and how they wanted to switch him to a position that he's going to get paid less money in a contract year, and nothing about the player being the same person. So Melissa asked, Mike, we had success with the long-term teammates, Ward and Tart and DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead. Do you see these FSU players making the roster and taking that next level? So as in Renardo Green and Bethune both went to FSU and played together. They both had great things to say about each other, which I'm about to get into. Do you see these two taking on a life like those other groups?
I sure hope so. You know, that's something that you want to see. I would absolutely love it, but you know, I don't. It's all about the play. It's all about the play. Not everybody is meant to play together and have these long-standing careers side by side with their former teammates and all that, whether it be high school or college. But it'll be really, really good if they could, right? It does nothing but help. And we knew that FSU was going to have a ton of players drafted this season, right? And they did. I think they were second or third.
Yeah.
I think we went through it all on the last day of the draft show. They were right up there, man. And I was so proud of that program throughout the year. And I was happy that the Niners got a chance to get a couple of those guys. You want to see these guys come in here and establish a name for themselves. And the hope is any player that we draft gets a second contract with the team, because that means that we picked the right guys in the first place. So Melissa, I am hoping that happens for them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me as well. So they asked both guys what happened here about the other one. So first, Renardo Green talks about Bethune and says that he's a leader, he's a hardworking guy, he's smart, he's very humble. At the same time, he's very confident and he's a positive guy. He said even when things can go left or kind of hit a bump, he always looks for the positive in things. He's the positive light. So it's nice to know that you have a guy that you're familiar with, you know, here with him. He also goes on to say about Bethune's play style. Let me find where it is real quick. He says, where is it? Because I thought that this sounded just like a player that we have. So they asked him about, you know, Bethune's hard hitting and what it's like being on the field with somebody like that. And he says he's kind of a throwback player. He's a tone setter. He says if the defense needs a spark, you know, he just goes and he'll smash somebody and he'll crank everybody up. Everybody will get turned up and, you know, to the energy that he brings to the defense. He said it's a type of mentality. As he was talking about this, it reminded me exactly of Dre Greenlaw. And on yesterday's show with Steph, I played a clip from Matt Mayoko talking to Greenlaw. And, you know, in that article, it had said that, you know, Greenlaw had talked about, you know, I might not have been able to lock up Travis Kelce or whatnot. He's like, but what I would have been able to do is bring that energy and bring that hard hitting, that, you know, everything that Greenlaw brings, the entire Super Bowl. And once the Greenlaw went out, that was missing. And when he was explaining Bethune, it reminded me exactly of Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah. The Niners went out there and said, hey, when Greenlaw goes down, we can't lose that spark. And that's why you get a guy like this. You know, I love that clip of Patrick Mahomes after their first 2 or 3 series while Greenlaw was still out there, right? Hey, they're dominating us on energy. He didn't say that, you know, I mean, obviously the defensive drives were really, really good, right? But he didn't say that, hey, we're not good enough, this and that. They're dominating us on energy. It was Greenlaw. Every tackle was a celebration. You know, he was all over the field. It was infectious. You see people high-fiving and chest bumping and jumping with the shoulders and everything. You know, like that's what they were doing. And then when he went out, it was like, oh, my God, what's about to happen now? Who's going to bring that energy? Who's going to bring that spark? And they tried, but it's something when you're trying versus when that's naturally who you are. And Tatum Bethune is going to be that guy for the 49ers, hopefully. And by the way, the name Tatum, how many people do you know named Tatum, or have you heard of named Tatum? It means full of cheer. It's a beautiful name. I'll be completely honest with you. Is that like a unisex name?
I don't know. I think there's an actor, right? Tatum
Channing? No.
Oh, no, that's his last name. Yeah, Channing Tatum. No, that's
Channing
his last
Tatum. My bad. My bad. You're
so
right.
yeah, I don't know. I've never met anybody with the first name. I don't that I can recall.
You ever seen the movie Scream?
Yeah.
Remember the girl
Tatum
that got
Channing.
closed up?
No, it's Channing Tatum.
I'm pretty sure it's Channing Tatum. Yeah, but that's who I was thinking about. I think we were all thinking about the same person.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't the girl's name that got closed up in the garage in Scream, wasn't her name Tatum? I think so. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. Now I got to Google it while we're talking. I'm sorry.
So they're saying Tatum Bell, Tatum O'Neal is an
Tatum
actor.
O'Neal,
Was an actor. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Her name was Tatum. Her name was Tatum.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that was it. Okay.
So I guess
All
it is
cool.
a unisex name.
There
was Tatum O'Neal a girl or a guy?
Let's see. Let's look it up now. I'm all for it. Tatum O'Neal. A girl. Woman. Let's go. Okay. Tatum Beatrice O'Neal.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I love the name. I met a guy named Courtney, and I was like, what, for real? And then I was like, I can't unsee it now. So now it's like, it goes both ways. I like that. So that's cool.
Yeah. I do like those names that can go both ways too. And it's always weird when you hear it like going the opposite way, like that towards the opposite sex than what you've always known it to be. And then after like you hear it and it's just like, you're like, okay, yeah, this goes,
Yeah. So, Shannon Sharp. It fits. It completely fits. You know what I mean? So I like it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because up until now, I've never even thought about the fact that his name is Shannon. And that's a girl's name. I just always went, so that's funny. Yeah.
Don't even think twice about it.
So Tatum was asked about his relationship with Renardo, which I believe he talked about in a previous in his draft interview as well. But he talked about that they lived in college, like literally right across, like pretty much across the hallway from each other. So he said, like I could walk out my front door and see him, anytime I wanted. He said that he's like a brother to him and that he's glad he's there. He said that, on the field that he understands his mannerisms and the way he moves. He said that he can tell if Renardo were to be on the field, they're playing and Renardo comes up behind him. He can tell that it's Renardo compared to if it's any other player. He said, because he knows the way Renardo sounds on the field. He knows his sounds. He knows his mannerisms. He knows what he's doing. And so I thought that was pretty cool that they do have that relationship and that, that they play together, that they played together and that if they're really like brothers together, like, that's, I love that. I love that coming to this defense, and hopefully they both can make the team and bring that to us. What are your thoughts on, that relationship?
That palpable, tangible energy, right? You can't fake that. You can't fake that. Sometimes you just see two guys who are in sync with each other. And it reminds me of that. We mentioned them earlier in the show, right? Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman. Talk about guys being in sync and in lockstep, right? It was a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And the moment that Patrick Willis lost us half a step, they were taken out at the beginning. They were taking Bowman off the field and nickel. And then after a while, Patrick Willis's feet started to bother him a little bit. Okay, Pat, you go sit down. We got Bowman over here, right? And I understand that these two guys don't play the same position, but when you can feel the energy from your brother in arms, from the guy next to you, you don't have to turn around and see who is that back there. No, you can feel it. You can tell by the talk, the walk. You can feel it, right? Like that's infectious. That also instills confidence. Like, oh, he's got my back. He's right there, and it makes you play with your hair on fire. It's just certain times. If you've done any kind of competitive sports at all, a team, anything that involves a team, you just feel better when certain teammates are out there with you. You know, they might not even be at their best, but it gives you a spark. It gives you some confidence, you know, and that's what they're talking about. And you love to hear that. You absolutely love it.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and it of course in competitive sports it's like that, but shit, like even at my last job, you know, we had a team of surveillance people, you know, and there were there's times when I knew that my right hand investigator was there on shift with me. Like, you just know things are going to get taken care of. I would be able to pull up a camera and start following somebody, and I knew that she already had the next camera pulled up and already getting ready to continue following that person. Like, I already knew, like, it was that in sync with the way that we worked together. And other people, it wasn't like that, you know, like, I'm not trusting that they're going to even be able to get the job done, let alone pick up right where I need them to pick up, you know. So it definitely works, you know, that way in a lot of things in life. Something that I like
100%.
that he's talked about a couple times now is his relationship with Coach Holland. And he talked about how they talked a lot prior to him even getting drafted. And that since now, since that 30 visit, he said that relationship just has continued to grow and get better and get better. And I don't remember, you know, last year we drafted 2 linebackers, and I don't remember either of them talking any type of way about Holland or a relationship with him or anything. So,
yeah. It's like, what's going on, right? It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Are you just going to sit in the corner with your fellow rookies, or are you going to go in there and ingratiate yourself amongst your peers and amongst your coaches and all that stuff, right? And this crop of rookies just feels different for this 49ers team. It just feels different. I know it's early. We haven't seen them on the grass at all. I understand all of that. But right now, they're starting this the right way. They are starting the right way. These are guys that the Niners targeted for very specific reasons. And this is what happens. You know, it starts with the interviews. It starts with those 30 meetings and all that. You know what I mean? It starts when the 49ers start to scout someone, they get a good report, and they start reaching out to the coaches. Hey, tell us more about this guy. You know, and then they bring them in, and they really start to fall for these guys, and they buy into their mindsets. You know, the physical stuff is what puts you on our radar. Now we got to understand the psyche behind the person as much as we can in a very short amount of time. And if you can develop and build those relationships with the coaching staff, if you can go out there and you know these people already, you're coming in and you're speaking with confidence about them, it's going to bode well for you. It's going to play a role for you very, very well.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the third rookie now. Him, Isaac Garindo talked about his relationship that was already building with the running backs coach, and how they had already talked on the phone numerous times, that he was checking up on him leading up to the draft. You know, that was prior to us even drafting the kid. And then Malik too, and his relationship with John Lynch. So each one of those 3 have now talked about their relationship and how it's formed with that other guy. So very, very interesting. They had asked Tatum as well what position, you know, across the linebacker spots that he can play, wants to play, whatnot. He also says that he don't really have a spot that he wants to play, that he just plays linebacker. So I'm like, these kids, like, we talked about them having the years, the experience, all this, like, they're knowing exactly what they need to be saying and what route they need to be taking to make it onto a team that is full of as many studs that we have.
Yeah, and if you're a 4, 5, 6 year guy in college, you've played everywhere. You've played everywhere. You've had no choice. There's so many injuries and things like that coming going. You have to have that versatility, you know. And the Niners targeted these kind of guys for those reasons. We talked about it earlier: positionless football, offense and defense, and that's going to bode well for them. And you love to see it. You love to see it. Maybe I know I do.
I definitely do. I thought this was cool because this was the only person they asked anything about Kyle, and they had asked him what he, had to say to the guys prior to them going out on the field or whatnot. And he says that Kyle told them to all be themselves and have fun, but to remember that this is a job, so we're all competing. And then he said again, but remember to have fun. Okay.
It sounds good. It sounds good, right? But we know Kyle's a little bit more of a stickler than just go out there and have fun, right? So it's like, all right, what are your thoughts of him? Well, he said go out and have fun. Okay, yeah, but too much fun will get your ass booted real fast. You know what I mean? So take it with a grain of salt. He can't. I don't know if it's about first impressions and things like that. You don't want to be a hard ass upon meeting these guys, but we know that's the little code talk right there. You want the guys to be confident, and fun and confidence go hand in hand with certain things. But you also got to make sure that you're doing the job the right way. You can have fun and be goofing off the whole time, and Kyle's not going to like that. And I can promise you that's not what he meant by go out and have fun.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to go out there and have fun while doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jacob County. Cowing. Is it Cowing? Cowing.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, the videos have been circulating, first of all, of Pearsall working out there, fielding, punts, kicks, whatnot. So I love that first day that they're out there on the field, we already got guys working on return, because we need a return guy, and we need a return guy bad. So Jacob was asked about his punt returning, and I really, really like this. Now, hopefully it stays true and this kid can actually make the team and is that one of those two. Like, please, one of them, take the freaking return job, please. But when they asked him about being a punt returner, he says, the more he said, basically, the more reps, of course, with anything that you take, the more you get comfortable with it. He says, so that's what he's trying to do. He's just going to keep taking reps, keep, doing what he needs to do. He says, but he says, when he's practicing on getting the ball and getting downfield to score a touchdown, he says, I heard it hasn't been done here in over a decade. So that's definitely one of my goals this year.
Jim Harbaugh's first year, last time it was done was against Seattle, and it was Ted Ginn Jr., where he returned a kickoff and a punt in the same game against the Seattle Seahawks. I'll never forget it. And I can't forget it because no one else has done it. Give us something, goddammit. Like, we deserve this. Like, why only us? Every team seems to get at least one a year, or we're just sitting here like, yeah, well, it was a 10-yard return. That's better than nothing. At least he didn't fair catch it with 15 yards, right? Like, come on. Like, let's give us something, man. Give us something. Almost bust a big one, Pauls. But like, get down there. You know what I'm saying? Like, give us something to be excited about every time you're back there. Make teams fear kicking the ball to you.
Yeah.
We don't have that here. We don't have it here. And it's weird because even when we drafted guys, I believe it was Dante Pettis who was a return guy in college, right? Kyle's like, yeah, no, I don't want him to be that. I want him to be an actual wide receiver here, like only focus on that. And it's like, come on, but why?
Even Ayuk returned in college.
Right. Like, why? Why not give them the opportunity if that's what they did in college? Like, come on, like, let these guys go out there and break it down. So, you want to see a guy like Callan go out there and do it, and he's a smaller guy with these new rules and everything. Well, I know it was punts, but like, with the kickoff rules and all that stuff, maybe these small guys getting in between, get skinny and get through the line, and all of a sudden you got one guy to beat now. Yeah. Like with the way they're lining up, 5-10 yards off of each other or whatever the rule is now, like, you get to that first line of traffic, you're going to have a good shot. So we'll see how it plays out. You love hearing a person being willing to do it. There's a lot of guys say, oh, man, that kind of contact, I don't want to do it. But I think these guys are also conscious of the new rules that are going into effect this season. And so that kind of that's going to give them more confidence going into it. Like, all right, I don't have to be worried about those kind of collisions anymore, at least for this season. So yeah, coach, put me back there. Let me try. He's a shorter guy, but he's got that stockier build, and you want to hope that it plays out the right way for the 49ers. He's got a decent amount of speed too, so I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I love that it's only rookie minicamp. Like, the first day that they've put on a 49ers helmet, and he already knows that, okay, this hasn't been done here in this long, and I'm making that one of my goals. The first time he talks to the media, and he's going to go up there and say, this is one of my goals this season. Like, you don't even know
And-
you're making the team, and he's already, this is one of my goals this season. Like, that's the
And,
kind of shit I want to see.
You know what that reminds me of? I don't know if you remember when Hufanga got here. He said, I want to be a Pro Bowl special teamer, right? Like, it wasn't about making well, obviously it's about making the roster, right? But like, I got to get in where I fit in. There's already some established safeties and everything in this team already. So I want to be that good on special teams that they can't let me go, right? It's a mindset. It's a mindset here. And this is something that the Niners are purposely going out and targeting. They want these kind of guys that say, hey, I'm here, and I don't know if I'm going to make that wide receiver room right away. I don't know if I'm going to be a top 4 wide receiver. It's a lot of good names in front of you, and then there's a first-round guy added to that list now, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not taking Debo's job. I don't think I'm going to take Ayuk's job, and Jawan Jing's going to be hard to surpass as well, right? And then you draft Pearsall up there in the first round. They obviously like that guy a lot. Let me do it on special teams. Let me go out there and make this my goal, right? And to have that knowledge. Do you think he asked that or someone told him that, right? Like, you don't have to answer it, but it's like, either way, the fact that he retained it, and was able to regurgitate it to the media says a lot about, oh, I got a goal. Oh, I got a goal. Let me run one of these 2 bad boys back in preseason, and I'm a lock for this roster because it hasn't happened here. They don't do that here anymore. That's too long. That's too long. So you got to go out there and get it, man. And I love it. Like, small goals lead to big things. You know what I'm saying? Like, they talk about football isn't won on one play, but you have to be perfect each and every play. And that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Yeah, you say, oh, you want teams to fear kicking it to us. Like, I fear teams kicking it to us right now. Like,
because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Like that whole hoopla that freaking Shanahan tried to sell us on freaking Ray. Like, oh, he's not just a great returner and this and that, but I see him as a great wide receiver and yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, where? And Melissa, yeah, the fact that's why I'm so happy that it's only the first day of them actually on the field doing work in rookie minicamp. And you already have one guy saying it's a goal of his, and the other guy, we've seen tape circulating already of him out there practicing it. And the fact that we drafted 2 wide receivers, I'm hoping that means, that they're putting in a little more competition there, and that squeezes Trent Taylor right out of here.
Yep.
Because I definitely don't want to see his ass back there returning. Fucking more safe, fucking, oh my God.
I said it when he signed. I said it when he signed back, Trent Taylor, and I'm going to say it every opportunity I get. If he makes his 53-man roster, we are in trouble. I'm sorry, It's not a shot. Oh, yeah, fuck it, it's a shot. I don't care. If he makes his 53-man roster, we are in trouble. It's that simple. It's that simple for me.
It's funny, these 2 comments together. First, Melissa says, Debo's soft ass asking to do kickoffs. That was unbearable. Followed directly by Debo turned into Snorlax.
Oh my God. Is that a Pokemon reference? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't have a lot of experience with Pokemon, but I just remember this big dude just sleeping all the time. Is that what he did?
Him. Yep.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all got to stop hating on my man Debo, man. That's crazy. That is
hilarious.
crazy. He's training our wide receiver right now. He's working with him. Come on, give the guy some love. Damn.
You guys are the best. That's freaking funny. Hey, Shell, what's up? Look who's here.
She is. That's right. Grady in the building. She calls me and Wayne Fred and Grady. That's funny. Sanford and Son references. I love it. I can't
hear like the name Bam or even like see the start of your guys' show, like where it says Bam, and not have "You're a bad motherfucker, won't you back that ass up" play in my head.
I never even thought about that. Oh my God. Now I'm never going to be able to move over from it either.
And I don't know
that's
why,
funny.
but it's just every time I see it, that's what I freaking think of.
That is awesome. I absolutely love it. Holy smokes. That's
so
great.
They also asked Jacob, you talked about him being a smaller guy, and they asked him about him, blocking, and obviously that being such a big thing in Shanahan's offense. And we've heard how many times now, no block, no rock, right? And he says that, when it comes to blocking, that, well, he mentioned that his past coach and Shanahan are a lot alike. He mentioned that 2 different times. So he mentions it now with the blocking, and also again when he talks about the playbook. So he says when it comes to blocking, he says his past coach and Shanahan are very similar. They ask a lot of their receivers. They ask them to block. They ask them to get physical. And he said basically, he has to have the same mentality that he had in Arizona. He says, I'm definitely going to get the job done and do the best I can to get wins in our column. And then when he talks about, them being alike, his past coach and Shanahan, they had asked him about the playbook. And, obviously they always bring up, we hear that this Shanahan's playbook is so hard and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, it's very similar to my playbook in college. He's like, I haven't had any trouble at all picking it up. I'm like, this kid might be more ready to make this team than we might have originally thought.
The Niners, you tapped a well one time and it worked out well for you with Ayuk. Why not run back to that same well, right? I mean, if the water was good the first time, it's probably going to be good the second time. And so they have someone there that they trust. They like the word of Herm Edwards. They're going to take him at it. And I'm sure they interviewed him probably longer about this young man than they did the young man himself. And if you can speak to, if you can get the thumbs up from a guy who's done it at a high level here in the NFL, down in college, and if Herm can tell you, hey, his skills are transferable to the league, you got to trust it. You got to trust it. I don't think that's a relationship that happened by accident. I don't think that they just take Herm with fluff. There's a lot of people who think that because of the Reuben Foster situation, that the Niners will never trust Saban or Alabama again. You know what I mean? Like we're getting the exact opposite here now, right? You got a guy who claims himself to be the fourth option on an offense, and he's a leading receiver 2 years in a row. Like that means something. So now we're going to go back to that. All right, Herm, what you got for us now this time? Let's go out here and get it. And he's going to vouch for these guys, and they're going to take Herm at his word because your word was solid the first time you gave it to us. You love to hear that. And it's probably more impressive through all of that that he felt like the playbook wasn't intimidating. When have you ever heard anyone, forget a rookie, when have you ever heard anyone say that Shanahan playbook was like, yeah, I got it. It's cool. Wait, what? We're talking about Kyle Shanahan's playbook. Right? We're talking about more pages in the Bible, and you're saying it's cool? You got it already? Hey, this is, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Now we're all watching. Now we're watching. Our antenna are up. We're going to be paying close attention. You are under a microscope. You're not under a magnifying glass now. Now you're under a microscope. All right. So, and listen, that doesn't mean that he can't make mistakes or anything like that. That's what practice is for. That's what preseason is for. You want to see those mistakes, but what we don't want to see now is repeating the same mistakes. Right. And so I'm excited to see this young man get out there and prove himself. This is going to be probably the most fun and attentive I have ever been to a preseason in my entire life as a 49er fan. And I've been watching preseasons for a long time. So I can't wait because these guys have me excited. This crop of rookies, Mariah, oh man. I mean, I can't say enough about them. I can't say enough positive about them. And, we don't know what the skills are going to translate to on the field, but we know that they have the desire. We believe that they have the athleticism. They got to put it all together now. And so that's what I want to see. It's going to be a lot of fun come August. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I can't remember being this excited about a rookie group in ever. I don't know. Exactly. Of course we had other rookies. Of course, like when we drafted Bosa, we're excited because he's a second-round pick. He's this, beast on the D line and whatnot. But it's like we knew what he was going to be, right? Like to have like almost the entire draft class that we drafted, like you're looking at the guys, and we knew going into the draft, like these guys have an uphill battle to make a roster full of the amount of talent that the 49ers roster has. And after we got done with the draft, looking at the draft, it's like all these guys have a really good chance if it all of it, translates to the field of making this roster. And like, I'm excited to see what these young guys bring. Like, we needed this. Like, we keep going back and getting the same results with the same old group of guys over and over and over. If you can bring in some young guys that's going to shake it around a little, get these older guys working harder, replacing the ones that didn't work hard enough, we might be onto something good. Like, this is what it's all about right here, is building from right now.
It starts with the salty tweets of the veterans. Huh? Yeah, Sneed, we're back to you again. Yeah, It starts with the salty tweets of the veterans. Oh, now you feeling the way, right? Imagine how he would have felt if he was on this roster right now. And you got these wide receivers coming in here talking the way that they're talking, working the way that they're working already. Saying that the playbook isn't anything to I got this. It's nothing. What? Come on, man. Like, oh man, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And for the Niners to have a loaded team the way that they do, again, top 2 roster from top to bottom in the entire NFL, and to get your fan base, people like us, Mariah, who watch every game, who watch every presser, who listens to everything, we overanalyze everything, to get us excited about a crop of rookies, that's saying something. That is definitely saying something. It's one thing to go out there and get the talent, because we'll be honest with you guys, we were drafting guys and we were like, who was this guy? Wait, what? Okay. But now that we get a chance to dig a little bit deeper, they're here now. Now we got to do our research. Now is when the fun starts, right? I'm not going to sit here and try to remember all 3,000 eligible guys in the draft. I can't do that. But now that they're here, we get to go back and watch some film on these guys. Now we get them to the podium. We hear their introductory pressers and all that stuff. And now they're here reporting and what they're saying now. Now we're way more excited than we were during the draft. That's not misplaced excitement. These guys have earned that much from us already, and they haven't done shit. They haven't done anything. A couple of words, couple of videos, and a couple of reports. That's all that's happened so far, and we're like, yo, this rookie class right here is something special. That is insane to say and think about with how loaded this 49ers team is. That's a beautiful sign. That's a good sign going forward. This is how you sustain success. You talked about it earlier that's exactly what you said. This is how you keep the ball rolling. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on Isaac Gurindo. They had asked him how many games he started in college. He said 1. They had, asked him about why he wasn't a starter, yada, yada. He had a lot to say about it. He said that the positives he takes from that and how, moving into the NFL, he says that these guys that were number ones their entire career now come into the NFL and have to be a number 2, a number 3, a number 4. And they don't know how to deal with that. They're used to being the guy. And now it's an entire adjustment for them to know how to take that, change a pace back role and not be the number 1 back role. Where he said he knows all about that. Different offenses, whatever. He knows about not being the number 1 back and how to come in and do what he needs to do. Where obviously we have a number 1 back, right? So he said that. He also talked about how, and this is always talked about in the draft, when you do have these number 1 backs coming out in the draft, well, how many carries have they gotten in their college career? 250 to 300 carries a year? And now they have all that tread on their tires. So he says he don't have all that tread on his tires. So you're not buying a used car from the new car lot. You're buying a new car from the new car lot. Where do you see Isaac's spot on this team? Do you think he makes this roster? Do you see him being the number 2 back? Do you see Shanahan putting him off on the bench and not using him like the regular other running backs that he's drafted? How do you see this running back room kind of shaking up and what Isaac's role is going to be?
Yeah. I like that. It's a really good question, and he answered these questions in a phenomenal way. All right. No shots at anybody, but and my guy, TDP, right? Trey Sermon. These guys were the guys in their respective systems. And what did we get from them? Right. And these guys, it goes into the mindset of I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm a man. Oh man, I'm a guy. Oh man, I'm rotational at best. Oh man, I don't think they even want me here. Right? Like it plays into the mind once you're not handed a spot after you've been handed these spots for the last 2 or 3 years in college. And so he's saying, I don't come in here with that ego. Right? Like I'm not that guy. You tell me what you want me to do, I'm going to learn to do it and I'm going to execute. There's not a lot of tread on my tires. I can go out here and I can be a long-standing player for you guys. You know what I'm saying? And you love to hear stuff like that. I think he makes the roster. I do. I think he probably comes in here. As much as I want to say that he'll replace Elijah Mitchell, I think if Elijah Mitchell is healthy, he's running back 2 still. I really do believe that. However, I don't think he's getting another contract extension from the 49ers. If Garindo comes in here and shows us that he's who we think he can be, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Elijah Mitchell returns. And so I just got them talking about how stacked this roster is, right? You're not coming in here and taking Christian McCaffrey's job from him. It's not going to happen. So now you're playing for depth. And Christian McCaffrey is also in the contract year. Maybe the Niners decide, hey, we can't pay Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk and Purdy all in the same offseason. We're going to have to bite the bullet somewhere. Now you're going to have to find somebody that can come in here and hold their own. And now you got running back by committee. There's nothing wrong with that. They never planned around me in college. I don't need you guys playing around me in here. I'll learn what you guys want me to do. I'll come in here, I'll be effective, and I'll still get a ton of carries for you guys when you call my number. That's what he did in college. 1 game starting. That's it. But look at those numbers. Those numbers still say something. And that's with me not being a starter. Kind of sounds like what I mentioned about Brandon Ayuk not too long ago being the 4th option, but being the leading receiver, right? You got to take advantage of every opportunity that you get. And that's what you want to see. That's what Isaac Garindo is to the 49ers. That's what he was in college. I'm hoping that's what he can be here. Give me running back 3, running back 4. Make the final 53 is all I want from this kid. Make the final 53 and you'll get in where you fit in. Right? Kyle, how many times we were pounding the table saying, we want more Mason. We want more Mason. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's give CMC a break. Right? Kyle's like, fuck that. You know how much we're paying this guy? You know how much we gave up to get this guy here a break? If he didn't break anything, he's going to go out there and play. If he doesn't say, hey, I'm tired, then he's going to get back out there and play. And that's what Kyle did, and I'm not mad at that. And so it's going to continue to be that way. I hope we don't get frustrated with the lack of carries from whoever our backup running backs are. We shouldn't get frustrated, but when they get out there, we want to see them be effective, right? A lot of people were calling Mason the closer. That's cool. Mason was running back 3, and we called him the closer. We can get another running back 3 in here and start to build with that guy. And that's what I want to see going forward. I would love to see that.
Yeah. I still think that if Elijah Mitchell's healthy going into this, training camp and whatnot, that he gets traded.
Woo! See,
because I said, this is the last year under contract. We know that he's good and everybody knows that he's good, but it's only a matter of time when he's out there that he's going to get hurt. Every single year we've seen him do it season after season after season now. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, if Isaac comes in and shows something, or even one of these other running backs that, they're competing, they all can't make the team, so that's either right. You have to cut somebody and you don't get nothing for whoever it is, or you can trade somebody that you can at least get a 6th round pick, 5th round pick, something's better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can get anything for a running back at all, it's a win. You know what I mean? I don't know what he would warrant from a team that's not familiar with him, right? You got the Dolphins out there, you got Houston out there, and you got the Jets. Those are the 3 teams with current head coaches or at least coordinators that know what he can do when healthy. And so maybe one of those teams see a value in him. Maybe one of those teams has an unexpected injury. You know, I'm not hoping for injury on anybody, but maybe that's what happens, right? We've seen Salvon Ahmed make a place with the Miami Dolphins over and over and over. He's never really been the focal point, but he's been over there, right? And, you know, they like what they got in the kid, and they like that he knows the system. You know, that can bode well. You know, that's one of the positives to Kyle's coaching tree expanding. It creates a value for some of these guys who are going to be leaving. Some of these guys that those coaches know the Niners probably aren't going to extend him anyway. You know, so let's go ahead and get him for a future sixth. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get him for a 7th round pick. We got him right now. We can go ahead and extend him something low because he's been injured often. Maybe you know, you're creating a couple of areas of opportunity for those trades. So we'll see what happens with him.
Melissa says maybe the Titans, maybe even Washington. Like, we got people so many places now that, you know, like I said, it's not like he's a shitty back and that's why we're trying to get rid of him. Like, he's so good when he's healthy. The problem is he can't stay healthy, you know, and it's like every year the same thing. Oh, you know, after his rookie year, he went into the next season. He even told us at me and TL at an autograph signing that, he was putting on more weight to take on that starter role going into the next season after his rookie year and didn't want to get injured, you know, and all this. So you know that you're building weight, that you're putting on all this so you don't get hurt. And he wasn't even in the game 5 minutes, you know, and it sucks, but like, we can't win a Super Bowl like that.
Right.
Like Melissa said earlier, like, you know, you're tired of holding guys, especially running backs, in these roster spots that we don't even ever see them. Like, it's just carrying dead weight because you need a running back on the roster. Like, we need dudes.
Exactly. And we need them badly. You can be as good as you want them to be, but you're no good to us on the sidelines.
Yeah. So Mike, any other thoughts? You know, there were some videos of different plays. Like, we saw a lot of wide receiver work. You know, O-line work out there circulating around. Any other thoughts coming out of the first real day of rookie training camp that you wanted to touch on?
No, nothing really. You know, these guys are out there. I'm not concerned with the running of drills and things like that. I'm more concerned with what they're saying. I'm more concerned with understanding the mindset of these players, and everything that we've heard gives you something to be encouraged about. You know what I mean? This is a team that people are going to remember for a long time, and hopefully it ends with a Super Bowl. And what happens is you need some of those third running backs, third or fourth wide receivers to make a play that others don't expect. You know what I'm saying? Juwan Jennings was on his way to a Super Bowl MVP as wide receiver 4. Right? Wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 on the 49ers with passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown in the same game, right? Like, how nuts is that, right? But that's what you're going to need. You're going to need guys like that while the whole world, while the whole league, all the teams are planning for your other 3 guys, you need the 4th guy to say, hey, what about me? And the Niners are building a team where all those guys, all those 3rd and 4th guys are going to be dogs. They're going to be explosive. They're going to be dynamic, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous. So that's what I really, really want to hear. I'm not concerned with, like I said, running on air and things like that. That stuff doesn't really concern me right now. It's more about understanding who the players are and how they think, how they process. And so far, they're all knocking it out of the park. A+ for all these rookies. I hope they keep up the good work.
Yep, I agree. Rob, thank you so much. Melissa, I saw your message earlier as well. Thank you. Tanya, I received your gift. Thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you ever know. Happy Mother's Day as well to all the moms out there. If I don't talk
to happy Mother's Day to you.
Each of you before then. Thank you so much. But yeah, I think that's it. It was nice just to hear from our guys again, to be able to see, you know, even though it was against air, to actually see them with helmets on, a 49ers jersey, like something football related. Like, oh my gosh, like, I've been starving for real football, anything. So it was nice. It's nice that, how many days are they there? Just like, what, 3, 4?
Yeah, I think it's only 3. I think it's only 3 days. Let me see.
like through the weekend or
double check.
something. So yeah,
49ers
we'll get a couple more days of them. I don't know who else they have set to interview this week, but at least we'll have something to talk about next week. And yeah, I hope everybody out there has a great weekend, safe weekend. I appreciate y'all so much. What?
It's only 2 days. The
Only
10th and
2
the 11th.
days.
Yeah,
Dang.
that's what this is
So
saying.
tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so today and tomorrow.
Really is a mini camp. Damn.
Dang, they ain't putting in much work.
That,
I
that's
titled
so
it that
weird
our rookies are
because-
working. Shit.
Yeah, like the Titans have 3 days. They have the 10th to the 12th. The Seahawks have the 3rd to the 5th. That's 3 days. Why do we only get 2? What the hell? I don't know. Maybe
It had
it might be
originally
a team
said it was
decision.
starting the 9th, and then like all we got was yesterday was a couple interviews, and that was it. So
Maybe that's
interesting.
why. Maybe they're talking about field time. Yeah. So
But yeah, we're gonna get out of here, faithful. If Mike, you have anything coming up you want to tell the people about? Are you good?
No, I'm good, man. I'm not going to tie us up any longer, man. Thank you all for the support. If you guys are watching on the Nothing But Niners channel, make sure you guys come on over and subscribe to the 49er Faithfully pod. Okay, you guys, I typed it in the description on this episode, so you copy and paste that if you guys aren't already over here. Make sure you get here. Solid content. Mariah, please keep up the good work. You know, we're all doing what we got to do, and this is therapeutic for a lot of us. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. You get more of that like that over here with Mariah and TL and Steph, and I mean just constantly good stuff. So keep it up, please.
Yep, I appreciate that so much, Mike. Thank you, as always, for everything that you do. Just being that constant ear in the background. Anything I hit you up for, you're always there. So, I greatly appreciate you, as always. For years and years now, you've been one of my top guys. So I greatly appreciate.
Thank you.
Miss Debbie.
Thank you.
Hi, Miss Debbie. Blessings to you. Happy
Yes,
Mother's Day
yes.
to you. We love you
Happy
so
Mother's
much.
Day to everybody out there. Absolutely.
All right, we're out of here, faithful. Mike is him. But Mike has to go before the other Melissa kicks all of our ass. So time to go now. We're out of here. Everybody have a wonderful, great rest of your night and a safe and wonderful weekend. See ya.